coming up here in just a couple of minutes on This Week in Evansville. Hi, I'm Johnny Kincaid. Thanks for joining us and taking a little time to be with us here and to get informed on what's going on in the world of politics, because it is a crazy time. I don't know that I've ever seen races with this many people running in the primaries before. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But first, I want to take a second to just say a big thank you to so many people that signed up to be precinct committeemen and to be delegates to the state Republican Party. I couldn't believe as I looked through and saw how many people were registered in both those positions. We've been pushing it a lot here on the show, and as well as I know people who have been making phone calls to encourage people to become involved in the process, and you've done exactly that. And so thank you for doing so. I think that our state will be a better place because of more people getting involved in the process. So big thanks there. All right. So we are, we've got political season going now. We'll have some county races. We're going to talk about those at another time. Today, we're going to dedicate ourselves primarily to talking about the gubernatorial race, which is, I think there's about 4,078 people running for that. And then another 5,700 are running for the 8th District Congressional seat. So we're going to talk about those two seats. We'll talk about the candidates and what we know about them at this point. And we'll start off on the Democrat side. There's never been a Democrat, or hasn't been a Democrat in the governor's seat for 20 years here in the state of Indiana. I think maybe Evan Bayh might have been the last Democratic governor that we had here in the state, but I'm not absolutely certain on that. I think it's the case. So running in the primary for the Democrats, first, Jennifer McCormick. Jennifer was selected in the state Republican convention. She's running now as a Democrat, but she was selected in the state Republican convention in 2016 to be the Republican to run for superintendent of public instruction. She won that race. She served one term and then departed. And in 2021, then she switched to the Democrat Party. Now, she says that she has some problems with stands that are taken by some people on the right dealing with parental rights. And also, she's an advocate for LGBTQ rights as well. Jennifer's been doing a little fundraising. She has, as of the first of the year, $200,000 in her campaign war chest. Then also running as a Democrat on that ticket is Tammy Dixon Tatum. She's from Anderson. In fact, she's currently the Civil and Human Rights Director for the city of Anderson. Now, there are some doubts on whether her name will appear on the ballot in the primary or not, because she's apparently having some trouble getting all of the signatures needed to get on the ballot. When she filed her paperwork on February 8th, she had 2,200 signatures at that point, and there are 4,500 needed to actually get onto the ballot. So we'll see whether she winds up getting that taken care of and gets her name on the ballot or not. Otherwise, Jennifer will just have a straight easy ride for the primary. On the Republican side, this is where it gets crowded. 6 actual candidates on the Republican end for governor. And you've seen them. They've been running forever already. I mean, oh my God, I'd be exhausted just even thinking about trying to be in a political run for as long as they have been. But as soon as, governor is term limited in the state of Indiana. So Holcomb came to the end of his second term. He can't serve anymore. That means it's an open seat. And so everybody wants to take advantage of that with the opportunity that basically anybody could win. So Suzanne Crouch is current lieutenant governor for the state of Indiana, and she is from Evansville. So, remember when she was involved in county government here in southern Indiana? So now she's a big shot at the state level. And we'll get Suzanne in here to talk with us probably in April. She's been state auditor. She was a state representative. She's very, very well connected. And she's been advertising already with her Axe the Tax proposal.
Under Bidenomics, Hoosiers are hurting. Suzanne Crouch has the solution. Combine Indiana's massive budget surplus with less government and more efficient operations to end Indiana's income tax.
I even have a name for it. Axe the Tax.
Suzanne Crouch will save Hoosiers thousands.
I can guarantee you that the radical left will scream bloody murder, but that money's not theirs. It's yours. And as governor, I'll make sure you get it.
So that's a little sample of what Suzanne Crouch has been doing with her marketing dollars, pushing Axe the Tax. It's a proposal that actually has been drawing a little bit of criticism because of the fact that state revenues have been declining over the course of the past several months. There are some people who fear a recession coming on, and so they're thinking we shouldn't make any changes to the tax base. We'll wait and see. Suzanne has in her campaign war chest at the first of the year $3.8 million. Then we have another person from Southern Indiana that is running. That's Mike Braun from Jasper. Mike, of course, is currently our U.S. Senator, and he beat the incumbent Joe Donnelly back in 2018.
Mike Braun, Republican, will win the Senate seat in the state of Indiana, a pickup for the Republicans. Sigh of relief, John Carl in the White House.
Big sigh of relief, and keep in mind that Joe Donnelly was one of those Democrats who had voted for Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court and voted against Kavanaugh. And remember, the president said that this was a campaign about the caravan and about Kavanaugh.
Mike Braun aligns himself with Donald Trump. All right, you're going to notice a theme as we go along here. You're going to hear the Trump name get dropped because there are candidates just all over themselves to align themselves with Donald Trump, and he is one of them. He is considered one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate. His campaign war chest at the first of the year had $4.1 million in it. Curtis Hill is another conservative running for a governor. He was our attorney general here in the state of Indiana from 2017 until 2020. He also has a close relationship with Donald Trump. There you go. We're going to keep candidates try to tie themselves in as much as they can there. He took a big shot to his career when allegations came up in 2018 that he had groped some women. This is a charge that he absolutely adamantly denies. And, look the man in the eye and have him tell you for himself.
What's your response to that?
Well, if you recall, there was a special prosecutor investigation that cleared me of any type of sexual battery. There were, by my count, 7 investigations and/or lawsuits that have been dropped or dismissed. This was a targeted matter. It's one in which we've gone through the ringer, and even such, we didn't lose support.
He is very big on cultural war issues, and you will see that being one of the big things that he campaigns on in the months to come here. He has $124,000 in his campaign war chest at this point. Then we get to an Indianapolis businessman, Brad Chambers, who is running. Brad is the former president of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. IDEC promotes one of the things that's big for them this year is the LEAP project for Lebanon. This is a huge development that includes a lot of very high-tech industrial, along with residential and commercial properties, and it's kind of built into this model that's called a 15-minute city, where things are within walking distance. Cuts down on how much people rely on their cars. So at any rate, that's one of the things that he has been a part of through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. He's been running some TV ads already. Let's check him out.
Joe Biden's policies are hitting Hoosier families hard. Inflation, high interest rates, broken border, the American dream slipping away. But the career politicians do nothing. If the people in charge won't change things, it's time to change the people in charge. Brad Chambers is an outsider. He's never run for office before. Chambers will put workers first and make Indiana the leader in jobs and wage growth. Brad Chambers, outsider, businessman, fighting for a brighter future.
Brad Chambers from Indianapolis, wealthy guy, so he is able to fund his campaign so far for himself. We've got Eric Doden running. Eric's from Fort Wayne, another business person here in the state. He was a former president of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. All right. He was in that position under Mike Pence when Pence was the governor here. He is out and talking about restoring main streets, especially in small towns, and improving the quality of life in rural parts of the state. He is very, very pro-life. And one of the things he's doing to back that up is proposing a zero-cost adoption program. Here's one of his campaign ads.
Eric Doden is a man of faith, and he puts his faith to work transforming lives. How do I know? Because Eric Doden changed my life. As a teenager, I left Rwanda. The Dodens took me in and made me part of their family. Their kids became my brothers and sisters. Eric is a man of God. He's been a spiritual mentor for me, and all the opportunities that the Dodens have given me have truly changed my life. Eric Doden will be an amazing governor for Indiana.
Eric Doden, on the first of the year, had about $1 million in his campaign war chest. And then that takes us to Jamie Rittenauer from Indianapolis.
My name is Jamie Rittenauer, and I'm running for governor here in the state of Indiana in 2024. And the date that you want to remember is May 7th. On May 7th, I'll be on the Republican ticket. You can vote in the primary as we bring Indiana goodness to the state of Indiana.
Jamie has a platform that's built on her Christian faith. She is a very strong Christian believer and teacher. She believes in banning abortions altogether and giving parents more control over their child's education. She believes in cutting taxes, and education is Jamie's top priority. We are going to get her on this show as well. With all of the other candidates in April is what we're shooting for there. Jamie Rittenauer has $15,000 currently in her campaign fund. So there, a wide variety of folks running there. And so you've got some real choices to make come May with the primary. Keep in mind, everybody is kind of trying to out-conservative the other candidates, so you'll hear them talking a lot about their conservative values. And now the 8th Congressional District here in Indiana, this is a pretty big deal because you've got Larry Bouchon stepping away from it. Larry has been our congressman from the 8th District from, let's see, it's been 12 years now, I guess. In 2022, he won that seat with 65.7% of the vote. So, he's very, very strong. And the 8th Congressional District is flagged as one of the most conservative congressional districts in the entire country. So that hasn't scared off Democrats from deciding to run for this seat, especially since there won't be an incumbent to have to run against, because that's always so difficult is trying to make that run at an incumbent. So we start off on the Democrat side with Eric Hurt. Eric is a guy who, according to what I've seen of him, wants to expand the quality of life for working class people. He wants to combat climate change by changing how cities are built. It's that 15-minute city concept that I mentioned a minute ago with the LEAP project in Lebanon. The idea is to build everything where you're only 15 minutes walking distance from work or shopping, so that you almost completely eliminate the car. So there's one of the places where he's taking a stand. He wants to increase spending on public education, and he wants to protect rights for people of color and for the LGBTQ community. Then we have Peter Priest II, who is from Terre Haute. He is a software engineer. He ran in the 2022 primary and finished third in a field of three. He is using the campaign as an opportunity to get more information out about public health, promoting vaccines, and that sort of thing. Then there's also Edward Upton Sine, who is a sales manager, and unfortunately, that's all I really know about him at this point. And then there's Michael Talarczyk, who is a school bus driver, and again, no other information on him. On the Republican side, first, we've got Justin Case. You heard me right. His name is Justin Case. And there's no other bio info available on him yet. But we're certainly going to be working on getting all of these candidates, even if it takes us a while to get through them all. We're going to try to get them in. There are actually 9 candidates that registered, 8 that are actively running for this congressional seat. One of them being Justin. The next one is Jeremy Heath. Jeremy is a health care case manager in Evansville. You know, I've seen postings on Facebook from Jeremy, and he seems to be a pretty conservative guy, pretty solid. I look forward to sitting down and kind of quizzing him a little bit and getting him to know him better. Also on the Republican side, John Hostetler. He wants to come back and be our congressman in the 8th District again. You know, he was our representative for this area from 1995 till 2007, 12 years in the seat. John is known for being a very strong Christian, for being a conservative, for being very consistent, and for being a constitutionalist. John, I'm telling you, you can sit down with John Hostetler and you can ask him about things in the Constitution, and he is sharp at being able to talk about the intent of the founding fathers, and he believes in let's take the words at their value. Let's not go trying to say, well, yes, but this has changed and evolved over time. He sticks to that original text. Now, you might think that makes him a shoo-in for this seat. I mean, just the fact that he had been our congressman before, but he's been away from it for 17 years. So there's no telling what's going to happen there. But, you know, honestly, I was so shocked when I heard that John was going to jump into this race. It's going to make things pretty darn interesting, I think. Then there's Dominic Kavanaugh, who is an engineering project manager. I met Dom and just very, very brief conversation with him. Nice young man. He's in his, I'd say, mid to late 20s. A former member of Donald Trump's staff, actually, and so there we have that connection again. And I've seen some reports that indicate that at least Dom has kind of teased the idea that Donald Trump could be stumping for him at some point along the way here. We'll wait and see how that plays out, and among all of the people who are wanting to claim some sort of tightness with Trump, and see if he gets Donald Trump here to campaign for him. Another one of the candidates that's running for the 8th District Congressional seat is Clarence Leatherby. I don't know anything about him whatsoever yet. I'm looking forward to finding out more about him. Mark Messmer. Mark is a state senator. He has been since 2014, and he was the majority leader in the state Senate. So how about them apples? Not bad. Mark is a member of the Fourth Day community. If you're a member of that community, you know exactly what that means. And I had a chance to, again, one of those brief handshake moments, and seems to be a good guy, talks the conservative talk, and we'll look forward to getting to know more about him as the election approaches. Luke Meisner is a former Sullivan County commissioner who is running on the Republican ticket in the primary. Again, don't know much about Luke. I'll find out, and I'll pass more information along to you as I learn more here. Richard Moss is running again. You know, Richard Moss ran 2016, 2018. Did he run in 2020? I think maybe, but I'm not absolutely certain on that. Richard Moss is a physician. He is a campaigns as a conservative and interesting guy. So we'll see. I've not had an opportunity to actually have a sit down conversation with him. Looking forward to getting to know Richard a little bit better. He's very enthusiastic and he seems to really want this congressional seat. Then we have Christy Risk. Christy is the chair of the Owen County Republican Party. She was a candidate for this seat in 2010 and in 2012. Christy, again, another person who campaigns as a solid conservative. I will look forward. I saw Christy at an event a couple of weeks ago, and am looking forward to sitting down and having a more in-depth conversation with her in the near future as well. All right, so there are some other developments that we'll talk about. So that's all your candidates for governor and then for Congress for the 8th Congressional District. A bunch of them. And how do we sort that out? I mean, there are some good quality people, multiple good people running for these seats, and how we're gonna be able to actually sort that out and pick the best possible person to run. It's going to be hard, very hard to do. Other notable developments include Alex Burton is running, of course, for Ryan Hatfield's seat in District 77 as state representative, and nobody is going to be running against him. You know, my advice to everybody was stay away from it. If you're a Republican, don't sign up, and nobody did. So we'll see whether somebody, you know, the party can insert somebody into that position to run if somebody has that kind of chutzpah, then it still could happen, I guess. Cheryl Musgrave now has an opponent in the primary. Somebody decided to primary her. Amy Canterbury, who is the head of the United Way, is going to run for that seat. And gosh, you know, the party even came out and said, you know, we hope that nobody decides to primary Cheryl Musgrave, and then now she's got a primary opponent. Going to have to get a hold of Cheryl and see how she feels about that. But also, you know, Ben Shoulders has moved on to another job position. So in the caucus, the Democrats voted to put Mike Gable into that county commission seat. And Jonathan Weaver had previously announced that he was going to run for that seat. And then Weaver has dropped out of that race because he's got a new weatherman gig, and he's going to be doing weather on CBS 44. So way cool, you know. Going to have to check Jonathan out on TV every night now. So he's not running for county commission. And Ben Shoulders, Mike Gable, is unchallenged by anyone at this point. Now, the Republican Party is saying, you know, maybe somebody will step forward. We might find somebody with the kind of name recognition that that they could be competitive with Mike Gable. So again, still a possibility that the party could place somebody into running for that seat. But, I don't know. I think Mike Gable's going to be tough to beat. But I think that the right person running for that seat with the right plan, you've got to have vision. So the right person with the right vision might be able to give him a run for the money there. But that's the wild, wacky things taking place as far as people running for government. We'll talk about some of the county seats in our next episode here and some of the other goings on This Week in Evansville. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And remember to just smash that like button. Just keep clicking that. And also, be sure to share this with other people so that they know who's running. And then, subscribe. That was the word I was looking for. Subscribe. Make sure that you get notices so that you can keep up to date every time that a new episode posts of This Week in Evansville. And we'll see you next time around.